Hi everyone, this is Team Purple, and we're doing A/B testing on the effect of different advertisement tones for a Meets website. In this presentation, we will go over our motivation, our study design, how we design a study and conduct the actual study, and our result and discussion.
So why is advertising something that a data science program should even be concerned about? Well, every year, more and more universities across the country begin offering degree programs in data science in order to meet the high demand for skilled workers in the field. This increased number of data science master's programs also means that every year the competition for talented students is increasing. Over time, successful recruiting, and by successful, I mean recruiting that leads to students that both exceed within the program and also exceed in industry once they graduate, can lead to increased program recognition, which then improves recruiting, can improve industry partnerships, and improve program funding. And all of these points are very important for the longevity of any university program. So essentially, Viz must stay competitive in its recruitment, which means optimizing how it advertises itself online. One way to optimize advertising is to tailor ads to specific demographics. This is because focused advertising is efficient advertising. If we can find what prospective students might want and need in a data science master's program, and then advertise a program in a way that shows how it fills that need and that desire, intuition tells us that these prospective students will be more likely to turn around and apply and enroll in our master's program. Data science, however, is a very broad field. As such, tailoring based on industry or country aren't practical in this situation because data science skills are desired across industries in various nations, and so those people desiring a data science education are not siloed by those categories. Similarly, tailoring based on age is also not practical because you can have students coming out of undergrad looking for a data science education, as well as people who have been working in industries for many years looking for a career pivot. Essentially, we need to find a better way to focus our advertising to attract more students. The focus of this study was to look at how ad tone affects how users interact with our advertisements. In the context we present to you today, ad tone is the underlying message of the advertisement. For example, join Miz because it will help you get a job, or because of its unique interdisciplinary curriculum, or join Miz to be a part of the prestigious Duke community. But why does this ad tone actually matter? It matters because ad tone represents a potential need of a prospective student. And again, if we can meet the needs of prospective students, intuition tells us that those students will be more likely to apply for our program. In this study, we sought to determine if advertisement tone had any significant effect on user engagement, which we measured as clicks per ad view, also known as the click rate. If there was found to be a significant effect on user engagement, we were also sought out to identify which ad tones yielded the highest and lowest user engagement.
Now let's move on to the study design. I will first be talking about the techniques we'll be using in this study. We'll be using A/B testing in this study. And what exactly is A/B testing? A/B testing is a simple methodology for performing experiments that allow us to make causal inferences. It involves simultaneously running two versions of applications side by side and measure the differences in how users interact with them. And there are several advantages to use A/B testing. Since the outside world often has a much larger effect on matrix than product changes, A/B testing allows us to control for these external influences on user behavior and isolate the effect of a change. In this case, it's the tone of our ad. Also, A/B testing is relatively cheaper compared to running an actual causal inference experiment in the real world. Plus, due to the ease of controlling covariates, A/B testing has an ideal internal and external validity in the context of web experiments. For the platform, There are several platforms we can conduct our experiment on, but considering the nature of this experiment, we decided to choose LinkedIn as the experiment platform because LinkedIn users are more likely to care about their career and education advancement. Moving on to the choice of matrix, here are the list of matrix we took into consideration for this study. First, we have the invariant matrix, which is the matrix we control for in this experiment. In this case, impression is defined as the total number of broadcasts for each tone of ad. Impression is an invariant matrix we control for as we need to ensure that each group receive a similar amount of impressions to obtain an apple-to-apple comparison between groups. Next comes to our target variable, which is the click-through rate. CTR is defined as the total number of click divided by total number of impressions and is commonly used to evaluate how successful an online ad is for a particular website. In our experiment, the higher CTR indicates higher efficiency to a specific ad. Finally, we have our experiment attributes, which define the scope and the target of our experiment. For the type of ads we ran on LinkedIn, we chose the native ad, which have a medium price and broadcasting efficiency. For the experiment duration, based on the available budget, we decided to run a 2-day pilot to get a deeper understanding with our baseline conversion rate, and then ran a 4-day actual experiment afterwards. To better target our audiences, we chose people who are between 18 to 35 years old and those who have at least a bachelor degree, which corresponds to the age group and education level MITS program usually aim for.
Let's take a look at the actual advertisement we put in the LinkedIn user feed. So first is the neutral tone. As we can see here, there are two parts. The first one being the caption and the second one being the slogan in the picture. We control the length of the caption so LinkedIn won't fold it into read more button, which could be ignored by the audience. So here, caption and slogan are both objective and describing the fact. You will get a degree out of this program. Let's move to treatment 1. Treatment 1 is the networking tone. Compared to the neutral tone, the caption in this networking tone is more communicative, and it emphasizes the valuable connections with staff and alumni. It starts with a question and introduces the audience the networking opportunities you will have from Duke and this program. We made adjustments to the slogan as well to keep it consistent with the caption. Moving to treatment 2, which is the job opportunity tone. Similar to the networking tone, but we emphasize the job opportunities in both the caption and the slogan. To determine the sample size, which is the number of impressions we need for each group, we need to consider the statistical and practical significance for our experiment results. For the first part, we need to consider the significance level and power. Significance level is the probability of falsely concluding that a difference in click-through rate is caused by the change in tones, but it actually is just by chance. Here, we choose a significance level of 0.05, indicating 5% risk of concluding that the tones cause a change in click-through rate when it's actually just by chance. Power is the probability of accurately detecting a difference when one exists. Here, we choose a power of 0.8, meaning that 80% of the time, we would correctly detect the difference in click-through rate caused by tones in the advertisement. For practical significance, we look into the minimum detectable effect, which is the smallest difference in click-through rate between control and treatment. We want a positive value indicating an improvement and conclude that it is practically important for us to invest. Usually it's set by a stakeholder to measure if it's worth investment in the real-life applications. We believe a 0.5% absolute change in click-through rate will be considered as practically significant. With these considerations in mind, plus the baseline click-through rate we obtained from the pilot study, we calculate the sample size using the formula in the slides. So for each group, we should have 6336 impressions.
Here comes to our hypothesis. Due to stronger tone emphasis, we hypothesize that one of the treatment groups should obtain significantly higher CTR compared to the control group. T-test will be performed between the average CTR of each group. If statistical significance is observed in any of the comparison between the control and one of the treatment groups, the outcome will verify that the hypothesis stated earlier in this section hold true.
Here comes the actual result of our study. As we mentioned before, the matrix we are tracing here is the click-through rate. So this plot shows the time series graph of click-through rate of our 3 groups from April 9th to April 13th. The average CTR of control, treatment 1, and treatment 2 groups are 0.92%, 1.16%, and 1% respectively. So remember, this is actually higher than linking benchmark, which is 0.39%. And in total, we received 11,000 impressions and 96 clicks over the experiment period. There's a lot of variations due to this small sample size and our short experiment duration. However, that's the best we can achieve under our budget. So our impression actually stayed fixed across 3 groups. That's what we expect for our study design and our setup. Take a closer look into the cross-group analysis. We realized that the treatment groups seem to have a little bit higher CTR compared to our control group. However, there's definitely no significant difference between CTR in control, treatment 1, and treatment 2 groups. As you can see from the plot, the 95% interval actually contains 0 for all 3 conditions. So that means there's no significant difference between the efficiency of these 3 advertisement concepts. Any difference in CTR just occurred by chance. At least on linking platforms. It is still questionable whether this result will be generalizable to other platforms, because we do know that Facebook, Instagram has a lot of totally different target audience groups. One additional interesting finding, so overall, audience in marketing and advertising industry have a higher chance to click into our ads, followed by accounting, management, consulting, computer science, and health industry. So overall, this is not a solid conclusion because as you can see, we just don't have enough sample size and don't have enough clicks to prove our result. However, it does fit our previous knowledge about what group of people will definitely interested for a MIS program.
And here's the conclusion and limitation section. For people who click into our ads, they're mostly coming from marketing, accounting, computer science, health and insurance background. Therefore, for our next step, we're going to target those applicants with a more specific ads so that more of them can be attracted. Meanwhile, the sample size should be at least 6K per treatment group. In this case, 11K rather than 19K impressions in total are achieved, which makes our result not so trustworthy. Secondly, the rate for the 2 treatment groups are slightly higher than the control group and the LinkedIn benchmark, which is 0.79%, which indicates that our result might be significant under a broader significance level, or at least there is a slight difference between the treatment and control group. However, under our current 5% significance level, there's no significant difference in the click-through rate across different ads. One limitation of this study could be that a pre-treatment study could be conducted to make sure that our target audience can actually recognize and differentiate the difference in advertisement concepts, namely the job opportunities, the allied connection, and the diverse culture. Plus, this study is a little bit underpowered due to limited sample size and short duration time. Also, the result may not be generalizable to other ads platforms, since we're only conducting the research on LinkedIn, and there's no user level or individual level data for deeper analysis. And most importantly, it's not an admission season, which means we're not expecting a high impression number as the program would have seen in its golden application season. And thanks for watching.